This is actually one that people have asked me. What about people? Don't you care about them?
I usually say I do care about people, and I do, and it's not mutually exclusive to care about humans and animals. And sometimes, because I do a lot of outreach events and demonstrations, I say, if I'm feeling confrontational, defensive, I say, well, what are you doing? I wouldn't really recommend doing that because it's really not productive. But I might say, well, but it's we all care about different things. It's, this is my cause. And sometimes I will say sincerely, I'll say, do you have a cause you care about? And lots of times it's abortion. You'll hear that. What about abortion? And I'll say, hey, I'd like to learn more about your stance on abortion. Do you have an event coming up? I might check it out. I really do say that, and then they never do. It's like, oh, no, I don't have anything. But there's different ways to handle that. But I wouldn't recommend the confrontational way.
Go ahead.
My father-in-law had said to me, we got in a huge debate. It was a nice debate, but it was a debate. And he said, I just don't understand. You spend so much energy on all this animal stuff, and there's so many children who are starving in Africa. And, why are you spending so much energy here? It's like a good person like you with all this energy to help others. Why wouldn't you help the children in Africa first? And once that problem is solved, then you can go to your animal causes. And I didn't have a good response at the time, which is why this would have been valuable. But after I was talking to a bunch of people, someone said, well, you know what? If you were in Mothers Against Drunk Driving, he wouldn't say to you, why are you in Mothers Against Drunk Driving? There are children starving in Africa. He would not challenge me. It's because he doesn't find the cause of animals to be an important one. It's his valuation of my cause. Like I said, and you can always say that to someone. If I were in Mothers Against Drunk Driving, would you say to me, why am I not fighting on another issue? People don't have a response. And by the way, people who are in Mothers Against Drunk Driving never get challenged on why they're not helping children in Africa.
I think it's also important to point out that by being vegan, we're saving land and food and resources, so we're ultimately helping the starving children in Africa. I
think they
saving
end up
the world for
throwing
everyone.
the resources that we save away instead of sending them to Africa, so that's a little bit more theoretical.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a political distribution issue
right, there
too.
definitely.
But in theory, we're also cutting down greenhouse gases and saving land.
The real important point, I think, in terms of how veganism helps people is that if we continue with the standard American diet, we're really devastating the planet. And the more we do that, the more you'll have tsunamis and rising water levels and things that really threaten people's land and make them basically environmental refugees. So the fact that we're doing this environmental devastation through eating animals and animal products is threatening the children in Africa. Now they're starving, in 10 years they might have nowhere to even be. So the mere act of being vegan really, does something preventative.
Right. Like Allison pointed out, we don't see it in this country yet, but there are people that are actually environmental refugees living right now. There are people who their entire villages are being swept away in mudslides and these tsunamis coming through and just devastating rainfalls and floods, real effects of global warming that are happening. People, fresh water drying up around the world. Just because we don't see it in this country doesn't mean it's not happening, but a lot of people in this country like to keep the blinders on and not really think about what's happening around the world.
An important point to make about the question of, why aren't you doing any, or, why do you not care about people, is that just, obviously a lot of us are spending time advocating for veganism, but just the act of being vegan doesn't take away time that you're spending helping people. It's just changing what you eat. Just like if you go on a no-carb diet, that doesn't mean you can't help people.
Unless you don't have energy.
Well, unless you go into ketosis and eventually die of a heart attack. But since the vegan diet is a very healthy one, it probably gives you even more energy that you can put into helping people. And I certainly do put time and money into helping people as well as helping animals. So I think when you can kind of point to something like that, you can end that discussion, and that person will often realize that you're not only doing things to help animals, but you're also doing more to help people than they are. I mean, I think that's another one that's really not asked with genuine concern.
Well, I like to answer that on a personal level because I lost my sister to a heart attack. And the number one killer of women in this country is heart disease. And we talk about don't go be vegan because of the protein factor, but people don't realize that ground beef, has so much cholesterol, and that's a big contributing factor to heart disease. Same amount of peanut butter, same amount of protein, no cholesterol. You know, so when you use the plant-based foods, you're lowering your cholesterol way down, and you're saving lives. If you can get somebody who does have a health problem, who does have a heart disease, to stop consuming meat and stop consuming this massive amounts of cholesterol that our body was never intended to process, you are saving the lives of your family, your friends, your neighbors, and even people you don't know that you talk to on the street. So.